buying back my freedom, brick by brick, piece by piece. Feed the algorithm, watch their souls get deleted. I'm writing chapters and stolen, writing posts get deleted. They chase a viral moment just to fall off next week. I'm architecting the kingdom that my grandkids will keep it screaming. Look at me, just to vanish off the screen and quietly owning acres, turning vision into scheme. Followers come and go like the seasons.
We are trying this out, folks. Right.
When the servers all crash and the numbers don't show, you gon' see who really plenty, who just pose for the glow. When the filters fall off and the noise go mute, all that's left is what you build and the truth you salute. No replay button when your story's complete.
All right. Looks like we are not live on Facebook. Trying to figure this out. All right. How about now?
This that long game, talk no rewind, no edit. 10-year vision in the mirror when I said it. They chasing little moments, I'm chasing a lineage. Listen.
This says it is on Facebook.
Trying to catch the next wave. I'm in the quiet laying blueprints, stacking bricks while they crave the selling sugar, quick fixes, empty receipts. I'm cooking slow, roasted purpose, planting generational seeds. They want a flash in the pan, I want a legacy feast. They scroll for validation, I'm signing deeds while they tweet. They feed the algorithm, then they wonder why they hollow. Trade a compass for a comment and some numbers they can follow. Every click another chain link, tightening they leash while I'm buying back my freedom, brick by brick, piece by piece. Feed the algorithm, watch their souls get deleted. I'm writing chapters and stolen, writing posts get deleted. They chase a viral moment just to fall off next week. I'm architecting the kingdom that my grandkids will keep it screaming. Look at me, just to vanish off the screen and quietly.
What happened? There we go.
Followers come and go like the seasons in the rain, but equity in my name. That's a different type of fame. They want a clip to go crazy, chase applause in the trend. I'm busy building foundations that'll stand when it ends. Let them dance for attention, let them bargain their name. I'm too busy building empires to compete for their flame. I'm investing in the soil, they just decorate.
All right. So it looks like we're live now, possibly on YouTube, as well as Facebook. What I will say, it doesn't look like the comments on Facebook are showing up over on the live stream. For those on Facebook, can you hear the music? Yeah, the comments are definitely not coming over from Facebook. Can everybody hear me?
This that long game, talk no rewind, no edit. 10-year vision in the mirror when I said it. They chasing little moments, I'm chasing a lineage. Listen. People out here chasing 30-second likes. I'm clocked in 10-year vision, putting steel in my spine for the fight. They be dancing all crazy, trying to catch the next wave. I'm
Okay, you can. Okay. Can you hear the music, Clarissa? We are trying something new this morning. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel as well as. Hey. Welcome in for those who are watching this on our YouTube channel on the replay or Facebook on the replay. We are trying something new this morning. For the very first time, we are simulcasting. And if I can figure this out, then we're going to be simulcasting soon. The next step will be moving over to simulcasting on TikTok as well. Hopefully this works this morning. It does say that we're live on both. It's just like I said, it's just that the comments from Facebook are not coming over to the live stream. It's supposed to be where I'm able to control everything on this one app. It's supposed to be where I am able to run everything from this app. And then I don't know if I like the background either. If I look back, now I go into. We're going to be figuring this, folks, out. We're going to figure it out. And absolutely welcome to this episode of Coffee with Coach. If you are watching this live on our YouTube channel and you're saying, what in the world is this? I'm Coach Grit. I have been working with individuals in mindset coaching, personal training now for over a decade through Grit Nation. And we have been doing Coffee with Coach now for several years, about 10 years. We almost started it right away when we started Grit in 2015, so over 10 years ago. And we have slowly started progressing out recently to build a bigger presence when it comes to what we are doing. And Coffee with Coach basically is what it sounds like. First of all, what you're not going to find. You are not going to find let me adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. What you're not going to find is an overinflated individual who thinks he has everything put together. You will not find that. What you will find is I am someone who's very transparent, and I have lived through so many different things in my life. And it is my goal and my desire and my passion now to take the things that I've learned and teach individuals how to utilize the things they're going through, how to motivate their mind, build their body, search their soul. And with that, Coffee with Coach is just literally like you and I sitting down with a cup of coffee and having a conversation. And you're saying like, man, Coach, I just need a different way of looking at this. Because let's be real, that's how we do it as humans. This whole background thing is bugging the heck out of me. Let me see if I can change it while we're live. I'm still learning this stuff, y'all. I don't know if I can. Basically, it is me just sitting down. Coffee with Coach is just me sitting down saying, hey, let's have a talk. Let's talk about what you're doing. Okay, let's take this off. That's going to drive me bananas because it just keeps fading into the background. But if you're watching this live on YouTube, I apologize. Usually we are a lot more put together, but being that I'm learning this new program and learning how it works and learning how to facilitate it, we're a little off this morning, but we're going to figure this out. This morning, with this episode of Coffee with Coach, first of all, I've got some news. Let's talk about the upcoming workshop. The upcoming Grit Nation Basic Training Workshop. For those who don't know what our workshops are, it is something that we have been doing now for 10 years. We do it over on Facebook. If you are not part of our Facebook group, go check it out. Look up groups, look up Grit Nation, and you need to purchase this book. The book comes, you can get this on Amazon by typing in Coach Grit and purchasing the book, and then going over to our Facebook group saying, hey, Coach, I want to be part of the upcoming workshop. The registration is $20, and it is a 4-week long workshop that is starting May 4th. And we have several people that are already signed up for it. We have several people I saw yesterday, several people that had put on, I think Deborah, Alice, many of you have put on the Facebook group that you got your book. If you've not paid your $20 registration, you need to make sure that you do that. And then we'll get you added over to the group. That is one thing that's taking place. That's coming up. The deadline for the registration is in 2 days. We will be closing out the registration. You don't have to have your book by then. You do have to have the registration fee by then. So there is one individual who I've talked to due to some things. They said, hey, Coach, I do want to be part of the workshop, but can I have a couple of extra days? I said, absolutely, you can do that. So then the next thing that I want to talk about is, let's move this back a little bit. We have, as of this morning, let me find it real quick, guys. Should have had this queued up already. If you go to Spotify or YouTube Music and look up Grit Nation or Building a Legacy Grit Nation album, you will see that we have a new album out, and we are going out. The song that I was just playing is part of it, is actually a remix in the album. And I'm going to play that again real quick as we get this thing kicked off. And we will, let's see. Come on. Again, learning the controls here.
This that long game, talk no rewind, no edit. 10-year vision in the mirror when I said it. They chasing little moments, I'm chasing a lineage. Listen, people out here chasing 30-second likes. I'm clocked in 10-year vision, putting steel in my spine for the fight. They be dancing all crazy, trying to catch the next wave. I'm in the quiet, laying blueprints, stacking bricks while they.
This song is called The Long Game.
Empty receipts, I'm cooking slow, roasted purpose, planting generational seeds. They want a flash in the pan, I want a legacy feast. They scroll for validation, I'm signing deeds while they tweet. They feed the algorithm, then they wonder why they hollow. Trade a compass for a comment, and some numbers they can follow. Every click another chain link, tightening they leash, while I'm buying back my freedom, brick by brick, piece by piece. Feed the algorithm, watch their souls get deleted. I'm writing chapters and stolen, writing posts get deleted. They chase.
Good morning and welcome to Grit Nation Coffee with Coach over on our YouTube channel and Facebook Live off of our group. I am Coach Grit. This is from our newest album that just was released this morning. All right, Grit Nation. Once again, welcome to an episode of Coffee with Coach on this April 13th, 2026. Please make sure that you go sign up for our Grit Nation Basic Training Workshop. You can do that through our group page over on Facebook. And this is the first time that we have dual simulcast on our Facebook group as well as YouTube. And if I can continue to figure this out, we are going to be doing this also on TikTok. It is just, I am taking one small step at a time. This morning, I want to talk about, in essence, I've been trying to figure out how to theme some of our days. And Monday, in being paramilitary, I love things that go together. I love acronyms. I love that type of thing. And so one of the things I thought about is Motivational Monday or Mindset Monday. I don't know. Both of them kind of have a cool thing. Both of them seem very predictable, and I don't like predictability. But in keeping that with that idea of Mindset Monday, I got up this morning, and for those who have been watching Coffee with Coach, those who've been with Grit for a while, you know that we talk about the importance of that morning routine, that getting up and starting your morning right. Not grabbing your phone. I can't even see my phone. Not grabbing your phone, scrolling through the social media, checking your emails, checking your text messages, but getting up and the first thing you do before your feet hit the ground is start getting your mindset where it needs to be to set you up for success for the day. And I did that this morning as I do it every single morning, even do it on the weekends. And this morning, I really focused on a couple of different pieces of that. And that one of them was I love the Stoic philosophies. And so, really, I immediately pulled up a video on Stoic philosophy and was listening to it. I have a book on my nightstand that is Stoic philosophies, and it's kind of like a journal type thing. And so, I was going through that this morning, as well as then I switched over to a couple of videos on thought, our thought process, how our mindset sets us up. Because I was thinking about it this morning. I said, I've got a very busy week ahead of me. I've got a lot of things that are on my agenda. And I even have things that I really, really want to accomplish. I have it on my checklist to get it taken care of this week. And then at the end of the week, we've got a really cool Saturday planned where I need to make sure that in order to truly enjoy that Saturday, what I've got going on Saturday, I need to make sure that I get the things accomplished this week. And as I stated for those who watch this over on YouTube, is I am very transparent. And this morning I woke up with doubt. And I woke up with A, doubt of, am I doing enough? B, am I doing the right things enough to accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish? And I started having all of this self doubt. And the self doubt really took me by surprise because it is something that I really pay attention to. And so as soon as I recognized the self doubt, I stopped and I said, okay, why this morning? Why is it that I'm having this self doubt this morning? I can walk through the thought process and go, yeah, I have been killing it. In fact, one of my kids was mentioning to their siblings, man, dad has just lately just been throwing everything at the wall. Like he is just every day getting up and driving and killing it. And that means a lot to hear it from my kids. But why this morning? And I realized a couple of different things. One, I didn't sleep well last night. I've been up basically since 2 o'clock this morning. A lot of it was because I went to bed last night thinking about all the things I wanted to accomplish. Then I spent the night laying in bed going, how much time am I wasting right now? I could be up and doing this. I could be doing that. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. And what the key and the theme to it all has been thought. I was thinking, I was strategizing, but I was using my mind to create thought patterns. And in that, those thought patterns began to control my pathway, my steps, whether I was taking physical steps or not, it was taking me and projecting me forward. And what I realized is somewhere in the midst of all of that, I lost context of where I should be and how I should be controlling this, which then led me to a whole nother thought pattern on what is it that I need to be focused on? How do I control my thoughts, or how do my thoughts control me? And is that the same thing? It is estimated that we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. And when you put that into context and you stop for a minute and you pause and you review, let's say we review yesterday. Can you articulate 60,000 different thoughts? I know that I cannot, but it's estimated that I did approximately 60,000 thoughts yesterday. And here at Grit, we talk about all the time about breaking things down, pausing, stopping, evaluating, and seeing what makes whatever is taking place take place. And what I mean by that is right then and there, I had to sit there and go, okay, so 60,000 thoughts. I can't think of 60,000 thoughts that I've thought of. So that, what does that mean? How do I break that down? How does that affect me? How does that direct the trajectory of where I am going right now? What I've been doing, where I'm at. And I started to understand and started to do research this morning on how many thoughts just take place without any true interaction to our subconscious or our conscious between the two. I'm not consciously thinking 60,000 thoughts. A lot of it is subconscious. Consciously, I can go back and think about different aspects of yesterday that I can remember and the thoughts that I was thinking during that time. But there is a whole different level of thought patterns that just happened automatically yesterday in the subconscious realm. And that is where I need to take a look and go, okay, how does that affect where I am today and where I am going? Am I, how does it shape me? I recently had put a TikTok video on TikTok about overthinking, and I had a lot of interaction with it stating, I have a problem with overthinking. I tend to be an overthinker. And even though I try not to be an overthinker, I am an overthinker. And so in the context of everything I was thinking about this morning, that video popped up in my head and I started thinking about what individuals had said in response to that video. And so I thought, well, as a coach, if someone was sitting in front of me saying, I have a tendency to be an overthinker, I can't seem to change being an overthinker, and I have been that overthinker before, how would I coach them through that? What are the elements that I can give them? And some of the things I want to share with you this morning in a very quick format is some steps that you can take and how it affects you. Now, as always, as everything we talk about here at Grit and Grit Nation, Coffee with Coach, whether it be Coffee with Coach or a workshop or one-on-one consultation, these are all just the beginning. There's always something deeper and that we can dig into, and we should dig into. It's never let's watch a Coffee with Coach, check off, do a check mark that I listened to something positive and educational for the day, and I move on. No, these are meant to get you to start putting action into thinking and going deeper. It should be something that stirs that student in you that says, man, there might be something here. I want to listen to it more. And so when you think about how we go through 60,000 thoughts a day, and a large portion of that is subconscious, we don't consciously make 60,000 thoughts and put it in a bucket and say, oh, okay. Then the next step is, how does that affect where I'm at today, where I'm going, and where I'm at today, and the actions I'm taking today, if based off of conscious or subconscious thoughts, where does the action come from? Where do the thoughts come from? What is the basis of those thoughts? Thoughts can create emotion, or emotion can create thoughts. They combine. Where does that come from? When studying it and looking at it and having done this before also and reflecting on it before in my own life, what I have come to understand and what believe neuroscience will tell you, I'm not a neuroscience, thank God, never would want to be. But what they will say is that so much of our consciousness and our emotions, which then dictate our thoughts, which then dictate our actions, which then projects where we are headed, is based upon moments that we attach ourselves to. You can have a moment or something that takes place that has a major impact. And I'm not saying major impact as in like a death, that could be something, or a major impact like a loss of a job. Yes, that could be something. But what I'm saying is, I remember a story that was told to me that as a child, I loved to be in the kitchen when my mother cooked. And I wanted to always look inside the oven. And I would always want to go up and put my hands on it and take a look. Well, the old ovens used to be really hot, and my mother used to tell me, "Don't touch the oven." But I wanted to see what was inside. And I remember later on in life as a child avoiding the oven. I never understood why I had such an avoidance to the oven. And my mother shared with me that there was a time where she kept telling me not to put my hands and look in the oven. And I went up and touched the oven and I burnt my hands. And what that did is that moment in time seared, pun intended, a check mark or a checkbox or a hook that I can hook a memory on. It set a anchor in my life that said that was a moment that you need to pay attention to. And the mind tells the brain, hey, you weren't paying attention. I'm going to take over and I'm going to avoid any chance of creating this situation again. And so then our mind begins to create roadblocks and obstacles attached to an emotion or a feeling that keeps me from entering into that area again. I have shared with this before with Grit Nation, and it's really ironic with the jobs that I have. The jobs that I have require a lot of phone conversations, and I do not like being on the phone. I despise talking on the phone. I avoid it when I can. If it has nothing to do with work, I usually will not talk to someone on the phone. I don't like it. And when you look back this morning as I was going through getting ready for this coffee with Coach, this really stood out to me because growing up, I grew up in a household that we were not allowed to use the phone. The phone was like the floor is lava. We were constantly told you don't touch the phone, you don't use the phone. If friends try to call us at our house, we were not allowed to talk on the phone. We weren't allowed to make phone calls. I don't remember the first time I actually used a phone, but do know that it would have been later in life. And what this did is this constant drive that do not use the phone, stay away from the phone, you're not able to touch the phone, began to pound in this emotional connection of a fear and adverse reaction to the phone, which in turn, later in life, my mind did not understand. It doesn't sit there and go, what's the emotion attached to this? Is this real? Is this a facade? Is this what the mind says is this is it? And it hears different people's voices of authority in our lives, including our own. And it says, this is real. It's not up to the mind to determine whether real or not. That's the soul. And then the mind and the soul connect and the body follows. What the mind does is just says, hey, this is danger. Not sure if it is or not, but I've been told this is danger. This is reality. The soul goes, don't touch that. Don't get near it. Stay away. The mind and the soul are communicating, going, we're in unison. Body, get in touch. And the body reacts and says, okay, I'm not going to go there. And what this does then is it creates a pattern in our lives that becomes habits. And when you consider that we could think 60,000 thoughts a day, and much of it is at the subconscious level, the mind begins to sort through those thoughts and says, okay, what is it that is important that I need to make sure you're paying attention to on the conscious level? And I can only do so much of that. So the rest is going to be sorted in the subconscious. And in that subconscious, it's just going to be automatic. You're not going to have to worry about it. I've got it. I'm taking care of it. And so for me, for years, I never understood why I had such an adverse reaction to talking on the phone because I never really thought about it. I just knew that the soul, the emotion was there. I knew the second somebody called, and before we even had cell phones, and someone called on the house phone or a work phone and says, "Hey, it's for you," I immediately was like, can you take a message? And even to this day, I seem to have a tendency of doing that of like, can you take a message? I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't like it. I want to talk to you face to face. It took me really stopping and reviewing and saying, why? This is not a normal people every day are talking on the phone. In fact, there are people that live talking on the phone. I had an ex-wife that literally lived on the phone. And I never understood why I couldn't do that. Why is it that I had this adverse reaction until I stopped and started taking a look and dissecting it and began to understand that there was an event that happened or statements that were hammered in. It can be an event, it can be a series of events, it can be statements that are continuously replayed over and over, spoken out loud, absorbed through the mind, taken into the soul, and our body reacts, whatever it is. And then it finally gets sorted down to the subconscious level. And the mind says, you don't got to worry about it. I've got this. I know this is truth. And until we can stop and pause and say, hold on, this doesn't seem right. And we kind of take the mind, body, and soul and separate them to their own corners. And we're standing there in the middle saying, okay, hold on, guys. There's something's not right. Let's talk about this. Let's break it down. Mind, why is it that you feel this way? Why are you reacting this way? Well, because the phone is dangerous. The phone is dangerous? The body, the soul over here is going, yeah, he said it. And then the body's going, I just follow what these guys say. Okay, let's talk about this. We experience this in many different aspects of our lives, and it begins to dictate the path that we take. What do you mean by that, coach? How often do you look in the mirror and you're proud of the individual you are? How often do you look in the mirror and you sit there and you say, man, I really do appreciate you. I like who you are. I am confident in what I do. I am confident in my abilities. I am a success. If you don't, then that's where you stop and break down because most likely, how many times did you hear something negative about yourself growing up? How many times as an adult has someone told you you failed at that? You didn't do that. And all that it's done is continuously piled up statement after statement after statement of negative aspects of your life, of who you are as a person, what you're capable of a person, and your opportunity or ability to be successful at whatever it is that you are looking to accomplish. And eventually, what happens is the mind says, okay, I've heard this enough. I understand the mission here. Again, it's not up to the mind on whether to determine it's true or not. It is just up to the mind to take in the information and process it and then output it into the universe or through the soul, which then the body reacts to. And so your self doubt becomes a subconscious aspect that you're not even thinking about until maybe an event happens or someone says something that reminds you and brings that subconscious thought to the conscious level. And you're going, yep, I already know that. Put it back down to the subconscious level and you move on. You are unwillingly holding yourself back from the opportunities that will propel you forward in what it is you're looking to do because you are playing tapes and recordings that have dropped to the subconscious level that your mind is processing every day. Your mind, you go to, excuse me, you go to do something new and your mind says, nope, you can't do that. Subconsciously, it's like you all of a sudden you just feel this adverse reaction. You're like, I'm not going to do that. Why? I don't really know, but I can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? I'll show you. Nope, I can't learn something new. What do you mean you can't learn something new? I don't really know. I just know how I feel. Oh, so the soul's reacting as well. What triggered the soul? I don't know. Well, if we break it down, it was most likely a subconscious thought that was created by a pattern or a habit that you allowed to take seed in your life, whether you meant to or not. And what I mean by that is there are things, I'm not one of these that says we should blame everything on our childhood. I believe that we are a product of our childhood, but then eventually as adults, we have to take the responsibility of who we are. And with that, taking the responsibility of who we are, we can understand that there are subconscious thoughts and patterns that are affecting us today as an adult that were established as a child. But then we must begin to change that. How do we change that? How do we take those thought patterns that affect the soul and an emotion that is attached to an element of sayings or statements or events? It's the same with PTSD. When I experienced PTSD as a former law enforcement officer, there were things that I didn't understand why I was reacting the way I was reacting. And I just accepted it for a very long time until my thought patterns were so filled and inundated with intrusive thoughts that they couldn't help but be conscious because the subconscious had been filled so much. And I'm going, why all these intrusive thoughts? Why can't I go into this? Why do I act like this? Why must I always have my face to the door instead of why won't I go to a restaurant and sit with my back to the door? I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. And I had to stop because of the emotion that came from it was overwhelming. And I had to begin to break it down. I had to take back the authority, separate mind, body, and soul to the different corners of the room, and take control and say, hold on, this is not a way to live. I'm watching other people be successful. I can be successful. I'm watching other people have confidence. I should be able to have confidence. I'm no different than them. I get up the same way every single morning. In fact, I might even get up better in the morning than they do. I'm a morning person. How do we take those steps? It is, first of all, living a conscious thought pattern life. It is, I'm going to get up today. I'm going to change something today. I'm going to work on something today. I am better now at using the phone. Why? Because I recognized that that was an issue. It wasn't a normal issue. It wasn't something that everybody goes through. And even if everyone did go through it, I would want to find out if it's something I could change to set myself apart from everybody else. And so what I started doing was making a conscious effort. I brought that subconscious to the conscious level and said, I'm going to take a look at this today. And in looking at it, I'm going to analyze, why is it that I feel this way? I'm taking a look at a subconscious thought, bringing it to the conscious level. I'm going to examine the soul, the feeling, the emotion of it, and then I'm going to watch how my body reacts to it because I want to be in control. I don't want a subterranean river flowing through my life that I am just going with the current and not understanding what is taking place and wasting precious moments of time that could allow me that I will never get back. And that in it, if I was living with a conscious thought pattern affecting conscious mindset, which then in turn make conscious decisions, in turn setting me up for success, I could have done that without wasting time. So let me give you an example today that you can take away and apply it to your life. And I'm going to use what I've been using. So let's say today I'm sitting there going, I'm doing jobs. In my current career field, I am required to utilize the phone like quite a bit. So I understand that having a fear of it, first of all, is not normal. Second of all, I have to figure out what it is that's causing it so that I can change it. I am going to take back conscious control of my life. How do I do that? Understanding that my thoughts dictate can dictate my emotions, and my emotions and thoughts together will my body will react to it, and in doing so, that projects me forward or hold. So let's go to the root of it. I'm today going to make sure that I'm going to utilize the phone as much as possible. And in that moment, I know that I'm going to feel that adverse reaction. And when I do, I am going to stop and study it. Why am I feeling this way? It makes no sense. There's really no reason. I'm going to say those words out loud. Why? Because I'm resetting the conscious and subconscious thought patterns in my life. I'm recording over the recordings that have told me don't touch the phone. There's no reason why I can't touch the phone. There's no reason why I can't talk on the phone. I am able to do that. It may be you taking a step forward and saying, and taking yourself to a place where you say, okay, why do I feel an adverse reaction to this piece right here? I'm going to go look at it. I'm going to move myself physically into that realm of studying it, being present in it, being present in the moment, being present in the position, being present in this state of being. Maybe it's you see a position that you have been trying to get at a job, and you know, man, Coach, I wish I could have that. Well, why don't you go for it? I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. One of the things we have taught our kids is to really be fluid within the universe of life and allow the universe to open up doors. And when they open it, take the chances. And my kids have come to me in several different places of life and said, man, dad, I am considering taking this step. What I don't hear a lot of times from my kids is there's no way I could do that. And I'm proud of that because we have built this idea in their heads and we have recorded these thought patterns in their heads and implemented these thought patterns in their heads of go try it. You have the capability just like everybody else has. Growing up as my kids as my kids were growing up, I was very conscious in the words that I used to them because I know the words that were used to me and how demoralizing they were and much it set me back. And so as my kids were growing up, I would refer to them, hey champ, how are you doing? Hey, how are you winning today? Even now, when I talk to my kids, like, what are you winning at today? How are you going to accomplish today? What are you going to accomplish today? And then I follow up with them, always giving this indication and this focus of success and moving forward and teaching them to take the chances. Why? Because I understand that if I do that, I am going to create a thought pattern in their life as one of their cheerleaders, as one of the pillars of their life. And we can do the same thing in ours. But what it's going to require, especially if you're an adult who hasn't experienced this in your life, you are going to have to reset the thought patterns. And in doing so, how you do that is you are going to have to be conscious of when that quickening of the soul, that quickening of the spirit, that fear, that fight or flight takes hold and immediately question why it is I feel this way. Because again, the mind is not going to tell you whether it's true or false. It's just going to tell the soul, here is what I know about the information. It is a database. It just is going to say, so it's up to you to feel something. Here's the facts. And it's going to present it in however way it has been taken in. So if the presentation is you're a failure, it's just going to say you're a failure. It's not going to strategize or review on whether that's true or not. It's just going to say you're a failure. The soul sees the negative context of it, doesn't like it, wants to avoid it, and says, whoa, don't do something that you might succeed at. Don't take a chance because you're a failure. And then the body reacts and says, nope, not going to try it. And then in turn, as a complete individual, we have just missed out on an opportunity. And so it requires us to sit there, and when we feel that jolt from the soul, we go, hold on a second, what caused that? Wait a minute. I was looking to expand my knowledge. I was looking to advance in my workplace. I was looking to pursue a dream. And I don't feel like I can do that. Let's look at this. Can I? I can, just like anybody else. I have the opportunity. I have the knowledge. I could do that. Okay, so then that's not true. What made me feel that I couldn't do that? Well, I remember somebody told me one time, and over, I grew up in this time of where I just I wasn't ever enough. In our relationship, you feel like I just don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to have a healthy relationship. I don't deserve. Why? Because I've been through so many bad relationships, and I've heard that over and over, or I felt that over and over, or I contemplated that over and over, and that has been dropped to the subconscious level. I don't even realize I'm thinking it. Now I need to take control. I hope that you learned something from this coffee with Coach today. I hope that it brought about something to chew on, something to think about, because it is so important for us to understand how our mind, body, and soul do work together, but how they work together just to survive. Now, if you want to thrive, you have to bring balance back to your mind, body, and soul. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Coach.
This that long game, talk no rewind, no edit. 10-year vision in the mirror when I said it. They chasing little moments, I'm chasing a lineage. Listen, people out here chasing 30-second likes. I'm clocked in 10-year vision, putting steel in my spine for the fight. They be dancing all crazy, trying to catch the next wave. I'm in the quiet, laying blueprints, stacking bricks while they crave the selling sugar, quick fixes, empty receipts. I'm cooking slow, roasted purpose, planting generational seeds. They want a flash in the pan, I want a legacy feast. They scroll for validation, I'm signing deeds while they tweet. They feed the algorithm, then they wonder why they hollow. Trade a compass for a comet, and some numbers they can follow. Every click another chain link, tightening they leash, while I'm buying back my freedom, brick by brick, piece by piece. Feed the algorithm, watch their souls get deleted. I'm writing chapters and stolen, writing posts get deleted. They chase a viral moment just to fall off next week. I'm architecting the kingdom that my grandkids will keep it screaming. Look at me, just to vanish off the screen and quietly owning acres, turning vision into scheme. Followers come and go like the seasons in the rain, but equity in my name, that's a different type of fame. They want a clip to go crazy, chase applause in the trend. I'm busy building foundations that'll stand when it ends. Let them dance for attention, let them bargain and name. I'm too busy building empires to compete for their flame. I'm investing in the soil, they just decorate the stage. I'm alive in real time, they just dying for a page. When the timeline forgets them and the hashtags all fade, my bloodline's still eating off the moves that I made. When the servers all crash and the numbers don't show, you gon' see who really planned it, who just posed for the glow. When the filters fall off and the noise go mute, all that's left is what you build and the truth you.
All right, Grit Nation, go and have an absolute amazing day. Your response, your responsibility. Go grit it.